Council on Aging's Senior Dining Site program is a neighborhood-based program offering seniors the opportunity to share lunch with others their age. Here to tell us more about the program and activities coming up is Margaret Jerauld, Council on Aging's Activities Supervisor. Hi, Margaret. I'm so glad you could join us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Well, we're co-workers, so I kind of know you pretty well, so this is going to make this process a little easier. But for folks that don't know, what is your role at Council on Aging? For a period of time, you were a community services director, but you kind of stepped into a new role. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, actually, combined years, I've been with Council on Aging 18 years.
Pretty impressive.
Yes, and then I did come back as the Director of Community Services, which oversees the senior dining sites as well as the Meals on Wheels programs. But recently, I've downsized my hours, which is nice, but my title is Activities Supervisor, which means that I go out to all the senior dining sites, the 18 different senior dining sites in Santa Rosa and Escambia County, and provide activities and schedule speakers to come in for the senior dining sites. And then in addition to that, I do facilitate 3 of our caregiver support groups in the areas.
Well, let's be honest. You're just doing all the fun stuff now.
Well, that's true.
You kind of take the admin stuff out and you're doing the fun stuff.
Exactly.
It's a great job, I'm sure, and I know you love it. So we're primarily here to talk about senior dining sites, but I do want to quickly kind of share with folks about the caregiver support groups. Tell us about that, what we offer, and kind of what people could expect.
Okay, we do have 6 caregiver support groups that we sponsor, and we have different facilitators. I do facilitate 3 of the groups, one caregiver support group that meets in Pensacola in our office, and then I also facilitate 2 grandparents raising grandchildren support groups. And it's really a benefit to those folks out in the community that are unsung heroes. Mm-hmm. They're caring for either children or caring for older individuals with varying illnesses or dementia, and just getting together and knowing they're not alone is the primary reason for the group, but we do call in special speakers, resources from the community that perhaps they didn't know about that helps them.
And it's a really neat opportunity because I'm not a caregiver, but I can imagine that it can be somewhat of an isolating experience because you're with that person 24 hours a day. Sure. And so I'm sure they're able to gain a lot of emotional support just being around other folks that are kind of going through the same
exactly right.
time in life. So I think that's really great. But we're here to talk about the Senior Dining Site program, and this is one of my favorite things that we do at Council on Aging. I think a lot of people are going to kind of be familiar with it, but for those that aren't, can you tell us what is the Senior Dining Site program?
Okay, it's a federally funded program where we have locations at 18 different sites, as I said, where people can go Monday through Friday and get a nutritious, balanced meal, and also they're provided with games and activities. Socialization is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. So that a lot of people come just for the socialization. Right. They wouldn't say they necessarily come for the meal, but that's an added benefit
right.
of it.
And they have a lot of fun there. I've visited a few myself, and they seem like they're already the best of friends. So I imagine it's kind of like a second family to most of them.
They do become very familiar with one another, and sometimes that's a good and sometimes that's a bad thing. But they do. Each site has its own little personality, and they have their own little games, their own little groups, and own little activities that they do. So it's interesting that I get to go see all of them and try to meet their needs as best I can.
So in addition to the meal, what are some of the activities that they do at the dining site?
All of the sites have bingo, either have someone else come in and call it, or they call it themselves, and the Council on Aging provides bingo prizes for them.
What's bingo without a prize?
Well, exactly. So then they have games and exercises at some of the sites. In fact, one of our sites in Santa Rosa County has someone come in and lead Tai Chi twice a week. So that's a popular program there in Santa Rosa County. Lots of board games, lots of individualized games per site that they play. And then some just come in to read the newspaper and chat with their friends and have a meal and go home. So it's just like a variety of different things going on at the sites.
Well, is there a fee for participating?
There is no charge for the program since it's a federally funded program, but we do ask a voluntary contribution of $2 per meal if the person is able to do that.
Great. And you mentioned that the meals they serve there are nutritious. What kind of meals are folks getting at the dining sites?
Okay, well, they're prepared by, the menus are prepared by a dietitian, and they're cooked here locally, fresh meals to the sites. I visited a site yesterday where The menu was a vegetable meal. They had the main dish was macaroni and cheese, and then they had
Yum.
vegetables to go around it, collard greens and cornbread and black-eyed peas. So that was a wonderful meal. Today, actually, is the most popular meal, and that's a hamburger with baked beans and a fruit cobbler. So that's a wonderful meal for
Right.
them, and it is 1/3 of the minimum daily requirements for an adult.
That's great. And again, these folks have so much fun. And like you said, it's not all about the meal, but hey, the meals are actually pretty good. I've had
Sure.
a chance to partake a couple of
Yes.
times, and they are pretty good. And I'm sure a lot of people would like more information and to know more about the sites. How does someone get involved? We have 18 sites you mentioned, Escamia and
Yes.
Santa Rosa. Can they just show up, or do they need to register?
The best idea would be to call the Council on Aging at 432-1475 and ask for the Community Services Department, and let the person there know where you live, and then you can get hooked up with a site that's close to where you live, and they can tell you all the details about how to register for that program.
Well, and I think the most important thing to mention about this program is the change in the participants' quality of life, because they're around other folks that are kind of going through the same thing. Tell me about that. Do you even have kind of maybe a couple stories of some people that have gone through it and their life quality of life has changed as a result?
Well, you know, isolation is an issue, especially with seniors that don't have family in the area. So if we can get them connected with a group at one of these sites, yes, there are situations where people, their nutrition has improved. In fact, that some of the paperwork that we do measures if their nutrition has improved over the years, and we're able to help them with that. And we have had some situations where, yes, people were able to eat better, and they were getting out, so their outlook on life was better. So the whole situation is a great situation for anybody that wants to get involved.
Well, what would you want people to know about maybe even the caregiver support group and the senior dining site program too, maybe that we haven't talked about yet?
As I said, the caregiver support groups are so vital to those people that are caring for individuals with varying problems, and it's kind of the best kept secret in the area. So I would like to, invite anybody that wants to come to any of those groups. They can call the Council on Aging and talk to me about where the groups meet, and there's no criteria for meeting except that you're a caregiver. You can come, and you probably be more benefit to us than we are to you when you first come in and share your story with us. So it's a really great avenue for people that are caregivers. And as far as the senior dining sites go, again, call the Council on Aging, and we can let you know what slots are available at the different sites. And I just think overall it's a life-changing experience for people out in the community.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes. I mean, we've seen people come in and out and talk about how they've developed new friendships, but also because they really have gained family members through the experience. So, Margaret, thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us about it. And again, the number's going to be on the screen if someone wants to contact us about the senior dining site program. But I appreciate you so much for sharing this information.
Okay, it was my pleasure.